Hey, Sharon, good evening. Henry?
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, how are you, sir?
Pushing on. Karibu.
Just share my screen, but share with me some rights so that I see.
Sorry? Yes, I'm doing that. Okuweerezani. So this is the same change of money. Simple as that.
Henry,
Yes, please.
just mute a little bit when you're talking to Kate. We can pick what you're saying. Kate, you're welcome.
You're most welcome, colleagues. You are most welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Henry. I see the team is growing. So hopefully the guys will be here maybe in the next year. Henry.
Colleagues, yes, please. I think we can start in the next few minutes. Yes, Bernard.
Yeah, I was also requesting that someone shares with us the registration link so that we can keep on registering.
Our colleague Ronette must be doing that. So let's see how fast we can get it done. Right. It's not.
Alan, I can see you enjoying meals. Hope you're eating a safer food product. Okay. You can unmute and I hear you. You are saying something. Yeah, lunchtime special. Okay.
Hello, Bernard.
Yes, please.
Is the registration link out so that I can direct my guys to make full registration?
Someone is dropping it shortly.
Okay.
Let me just run through and see. I will be sharing the link for registration here in a few.
Okay, thank you.
I also see that we are almost half, so we could start in a few minutes. I see that now most of us are here. At least half of us are here, so we just give it a little bit, a few minutes. At 15:10, we'll be starting the he will set us to roll. Yeah.
Okay, colleagues, I think I would like to welcome you all as we prepare to start. It's a great honor that we kind of a full house. I would like to welcome our guest, Ms. Shira. You're most welcome. And to all of you in the media fraternity. So as we wait for our colleagues to put into the registration form, in the meantime, you could we could have just a bit of curtain riser. We are going to start our session with a number of aspects that we wish to go through with you. And these are mainly in relation to the whole setup that we are having today. So colleagues, today we are introducing, or we're joining in to look at other aspects. All other initiatives have been looking at different variables, looking at food, looking at nutrition aspects. Now we are entering a new phase of aspects. We have been alluding to some of them where we have shared with you the different complaints that we are receiving from consumers. We would like now to turn to the financial services or the financial sector. And today we will be digging deep and looking at your role as the media in safe financial services. How do you guarantee it? How do you promote consumer protection? You are consumers too. So this is what we are going to dig into. And we are honored to have the heads of program at Consumers International, Digital Finance, Shira. She will be sharing with us in the next few minutes, and then later, Bernard will be leading us into the role of media in guaranteeing safe financial services for consumer protection and consumer protection. So once again, colleagues, you're most welcome to our fourth Media League webinar. I trust now we have hit a mark of 69, and now we're at 40. May I ask Asha, Logistics, has Ronette dropped us the registration, or she's about to?
Yes, Ketchara, it's in the chat.
It's in the chat, great.
I'm already sharing it in the chat.
Okay, so
please.
Colleagues, before I kickstart the whole process, as the program we shared, we are going to start at just 15 minutes past. So the 15 minutes was to get you all ready and also checking out if we are all set. So I would like in the few minutes to be in a position to kickstart by, I'll be welcoming you and also will be leading you into giving you a few highlights of what we are rolling with today. And then thereafter, we'll be hearing from Shira. She will be sharing with us the global version or perspective of financial literacy and regulation stroke standards at work in guaranteeing safe financial services for consumers and businesses. So colleagues, I trust that we'll be having a lot to learn from that. Then we'll have a short discourse with her. And thereafter, we will dig into the role of the media in guaranteeing safe financial services and consumer protection. So Bernard will be leading us into that process too. And we'll end up with discussion. So colleagues, having said that, I would like to welcome you to our 4th Media League webinar. We are greatly honored to having partnered with Consumers International and a program on initiative of accelerating fair digital finance, which today plays a major role in the global world. But you'll appreciate in Uganda, ever since the mobile telecom and mobile money came into being, a lot has changed. But to go back, to give you a little background and why that leads us into the digital. The banking sector before 2009, we had basically 5 million accounts, both corporate, individual, savings, all totaled to around about 5 million. But from 2009, when mobile money came into being, every year for the last several years, there have been changes. There's been growth. To date, if you take that, we are around about 38 million SIM cards that we have in the country. That means those are around about 38 million accounts if each SIM card can have a mobile wallet. So that means that digital finance in the last over 15 years has grown from the former 5 million accounts that were in the supervised banks by Bank of Uganda. To date, still mobile money is being supervised by Bank of Uganda ever since the National Payment Systems Act came into effect. All aspects to do with mobile money left the jurisdiction of the Uganda Communications Commission and now run, or the competent authority is the central bank, that is Bank of Uganda. So MTN and Airtel and any other telecom company that is running mobile money or digital finance had to register a separate company. I trust that you know as the media. So all this has brought in more requirements and more need for learning for consumers, and also more need for learning for the media, so that you are in position to go out and inform the general public the changes in the financial services or in the financial sector with new regulations. Still, for your information, before all the gaining of momentum of the digital finance, Bank of Uganda came up with the financial consumer protection guidelines that were mandatory to all its registered banks that it supervises, and these were guaranteeing consumer protection. And also the national payment system that came into effect in 2020 that led to the split and brought in new companies like MTN Money and Airtel Money or business. The mobile money aspects crossed over and now they're being managed there. And also in that national payment system, there are consumer protection guidelines. But today, colleagues, as we discuss and as we are going to see, consumer complaints, Consent Harvest's consumer complaints, we have more than 2,000 complaints in just 2 months, but we have more than 5,000 to 10,000 complaints in total that are related to financial services and mobile or digital finance. On top of those complaints, it is fraud, scams, abafere, if I would make it into the local context. The other aspects are poor customer care, loss of network, so that and in that transactions can't go through. SIM card swaps, infringement on consumers' data, all this has led to the unhappiness of consumers, not getting quality of service, and consumers are losing trust and confidence in the sector. So as your host, I thought that I would give this background as we dig into the discussion today. And we'll be sharing more when we reach to this role of the media with regards to what do we need to do and to make sure that consumers gain trust in the digital or the financial services, the financial sector, and also consumers gain trust and confidence in the digital finance portfolio. Digital finance portfolio has got a lots of benefit, but they can't be beneficial to the consumers if the regulations, if the mechanisms that are there to address and bring about quality service are not effective. As a country, we have got standards on the National Standards Archive, hosted by the National Bureau of Standards, and we are honored to have our colleague, who is the secretary to the Technical Committee of Financial Services, where standards are developed and which standards are supposed to be implemented by the financial sector players, actors, which are companies in the financial services, companies in insurance, companies in medical services, companies in many other things. The other day I was listening to the report from the National Insurance Regulatory Authority, which consumers have already complained about, that there is also fraud in the third-party services. So you find that consumers are endangered in every aspect. So today we would like to deliberate on those. That said, I would like to end my welcoming remarks and urge you to continuously fill in that registration form. There are certain aspects that we would love also to get from you as our colleagues in the media, because you are the eyes and the ears of society. That said, colleagues, I would like now to welcome Shira to share with us. But Shira, she is the head of programs at Consumers International in regards to fair digital finance acceleration. And I would like to welcome you, Shira Senfuma, and we look forward to your sharing. So in case you have any aspect you would like to share on the screen, I can give you co-host rights, and then you'd be in position to share and be in position to empower our colleagues in the media. So I will stop sharing and leave the floor to you, and would like to welcome you, Sheila, for joining us. And it's a great pleasure as you share the screen to have consent to have partnered with you, representing Consumers International, and we look forward to continuous sharing. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Henry. I think it's really a pleasure for me to be here with the rest of the team and in such large numbers. Just once again, my name is Sheila Semfuma, and I'm the head of program for digital finance at Consumers International. Just very briefly, Consumers International is a member organization for consumer bodies around the world with over 200 members in over 100 countries. And one of our priority areas is digital finance, but we also work on other areas around health, food safety, which I know you've been a part of, sustainable consumption, energy, and digital rights. But today we're really going to concentrate on financial digital finance, because it's one of the areas where we think it's like the Cinderella of everything else, really, because everything we do, we spend money, there is an aspect of money involved. And as such, it's critical that not only are we empowered in terms of how we use the money, but also in understanding what are the risks that we face as we interact with different services, or also try to understand how we make the most of the money that we have. I'll just share briefly. I liked that Henry mentioned in the opening section something around risks and trust, because for us, it's something critical as well. We've seen that within Africa, Asia, Latin America, Europe, whether it's low and middle income countries or high income countries, the issue of trust has been dwindling within the digital finance marketplace. Much as there is a lot of innovation happening, there is also a lot of risks that are coming with that innovation. And we don't want to be in a place where we are stopping innovation, because that's also helpful for financial inclusion and for us to benefit from the advantages around speed, around easy access, around inclusion where we ordinarily wouldn't be included. So we want the benefits of digital finance, but we don't want that at the cost of consumer protection. As such, we've done a series of activities, including empowerment activities within the consumer groups, working with regulators and digital finance providers to understand how they can have policies that are consumer-centered, but also trying to understand how do we work with businesses to come up with solutions that put the consumer first. And when I speak of businesses as well, it's something that's always a bit controversial at times, because the businesses will say, oh, we are consumer-centered, we have a feedback box, or, you know, we have a hotline where people can call. But then you realize that when you dig deeper, that some of these are not accessible to everyone, or they're not as effective as we would like them to be. So the slide I'm presenting is really around some of the feedback we received from over 40 countries, not just within Africa, but within the global sphere, in terms of the areas where we see a lack of trust when it comes to interactions with financial services providers. One of the key ones was really around limited recourse and dispute resolution. And this speaks to complaints mechanisms, really. And this scored highest at 70%. 70% of the respondents ranked this as a priority area that's causing a lack of trust. For all of us, we know on one point or another, we've engaged with a service provider, whether it's trying to clarify whether our money went the right way, or whether the system is not working, or whether we've been defrauded. And it's always very frustrating that already you're having an issue, but also the avenue that you're using to try and rectify is not working. So if that keeps happening, usually you lose trust and you don't want to engage again. So that came out very strongly. And other issues were really around poor customer service. And this came out very strongly, particularly in countries in Asia and Africa, where usually there are no standards that hold financial services providers accountable when they do not provide the right kind of service. that they promised. The other was around lack of transparency in fees and charges, and particularly these came out in terms of payment and digital credit. And we've seen a lot of this as we've engaged recently with consumers who say that maybe they applied for a loan via a digital app or via an SMS link that was sent to them, and they ended up paying more than they were promised. So this has been very critical as an arising issue that we've seen in terms of risks. There's a lot around negative experiences shared by others, mainly understanding that in most of the communities, there is a lot of peer-to-peer learning or access to services based on what you learn from your peers. So this was also a factor that was affecting trust by users of digital financial services. The other was really around frauds and scams, whereby most consumers were they had incurred or experienced a scam or a fraudulent action, they were very hesitant to engage again with a digital financial services provider or with a particular product offered. The others were around data privacy and security, and then complex terms and conditions. I think Henry mentioned some of these. So you see that much as these are localized, some of the issues that we are seeing in Uganda, there are also issues we are seeing globally. And as we move across borders, it's very critical for us to see how we're working with the right agencies to ensure that we have the right frameworks in place to protect consumers at home or whether they are away. And you also notice that as you transverse across borders, in certain countries, you'll feel more protected. You'll be getting less spam emails. You'll be getting less people calling you to offer you deals. And also even the amount of adverts you get will be limited, because in some countries, we've seen that they have data protection laws that are not only there in terms of being written or a policy being in place, which is a great first step, but we realize that those great policies have to be implemented. And where implementation is not happening, then the policies are sometimes as good as not, because then the consumers do not benefit from the advantages that these policies are supposed to provide. They're not benefiting from the protections that these policies are putting in place. And that brings me then to our issue at hand today, where we're talking about how can financial literacy improve both trust, but also the way consumers engage with various products. Very recently, we had a lot of consumer associations within our network across 100 countries, doing a lot of awareness around scams, particularly new types of scams that are coming up across different ways. Some of them are using existing methods, others are coming with very unique ways. Each time someone is thinking about a new product, the scammers are also very alert, trying to see how we're going to take advantage of that. If someone is talking about crypto, someone will be thinking, how am I going to take advantage of that to defraud a consumer? If someone is talking about an investment product, someone again will be thinking about how are they going to take advantage. If it's AI, open finance, DPI, for all these solutions, as they come up, someone else on the other side is putting even double the work to see how they can take advantage of consumers. So the issue of financial literacy really comes out very strongly, both in terms of structured engagement for consumers, but also trying to see how do you reach consumers at scale. You realize that with most of the consumer advocates we have, they're smaller in size, doing too much, but no one gives them budget. There is no budget within the national budget plan that's dedicated to consumer protection. And yet, you know, one way or another, we are all consumers. It's inevitable. But when it comes to consumer issues, you'll find that usually these take a back burner, and we are relying on the goodwill of advocates or volunteers to actually try to push or advocate for the issues that affect all of us. You may have seen also recently, a few months back, the Capital Chicken scam. There've been a lot around crypto. I won't even go into that because there's so many. And with all of those, some consumers are not really aware that, you know, these are not really legitimate, because sometimes these are also put across by platforms that consumers trust. It could be a media platform. It could be endorsement by someone that they look up to, like an influencer at various stages. Once these are put there, consumers really will be like, oh, if this person is talking about this, possibly that's something that's legit. So they'll go ahead and invest without really doing due diligence because they relied on a body or an agency that they trust. So for me, I was really glad to hear about this convening, because I feel that the media plays a really, really critical role in reaching consumers. across the entire country, whether it's through using social networks, social media networks, whether it's around using traditional media like radio, like TV, like even like road shows and community outreach. We've realized that media plays a key role, whichever way you choose to take advantage of it. And with that, it means that the media holds almost unlimited power because there is also limited bias in terms of what are you providing access to. As such, for us, we feel that there is a key opportunity for collaboration structurally with consumer associations to understand what are the risks consumers are facing. Are we communicating these risks in a timely way that consumers are protected, not when things have already escalated? Are we proactively trying to understand trends around risks as they come up so that consumers can be better protected? And for me, I feel this is a critical part because what we've been seeing is leveraging social media network in terms where we offer solutions or policy recommendations to regulators or to businesses in terms of what we are seeing as harms. You realize that the business will take forever to respond, or they'll just ignore, really. If you're even lucky to access them, they'll ignore it. If it's the government or an agency, for some of them, like the UCC, which has been really doing excellently, you will realize that they'll listen and they'll try to see how to collaborate to actually resolve the issue. But then for others, it will be like, oh yeah, we have a process, you know how these things go, there is no budget for it, we are not mandated to do that. And in that case, you realize that because of a gap in regulation, the consumer still stays stranded. But with the media, there is nothing around mandate. They have a mandate to communicate things that are legit and legal, but overall it's an open space for engagement and a space that you feel consumers can be protected. And with such, we feel that when that happens, you feel like you can rely on the media to actually further or advocate an issue, usually at scale via the forms. Recently, one of the issues we've also been seeing around digital credit has been all these apps that come up to convince consumers that, oh, we're giving you a loan at a very good rate. You can pay whenever, whatever time you want. But then in the end, you realize that they're defrauding consumers. Consumers end up paying way more than they signed up for. But even worse, they end up getting mistreated when they're collecting back these loans. So you realize that they'll start calling other people using the data that you consented to without knowing that you actually consented to sharing your data. And you end up being harassed or your reputation being ruined because you engaged in something that you thought was correct or that misled you to do an action that you did not intend to. So from this, we've seen that the media has played a key role where a few advocates have come up on Twitter and other social media platforms to say these are the apps that are defrauding consumers. These are the apps that should be taken away. And because of that, we actually saw the central bank and the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority come up and say, okay, this is what's happening. This is a complaints desk you can come to. This is where you can report an app that's doing something similar. We haven't gotten to the policy issue where you say they're putting in place a die-hard policy around these apps, but at least you see that there's been movement, and that was driven by the media. So for me, I feel like this is very critical. This is urgent. This is a discussion that we should keep going because you hold a lot of power in your hands in ensuring that consumers are protected, and all of this being informed by information and evidence that's being collected by consent and other key stakeholders that are working directly with consumer associations, with consumers to understand the issues that consumers are facing. And in that regard, at Consumers International, we did launch a call for more transparency in digital finance, particularly calling for feedback and digital finance that's very timely, that's relevant, and that speaks to consumers in terms of the needs that they need. And this includes being very transparent in terms of the pricing, being transparent in terms of the legal terms and conditions. I don't know if any of you has signed a mortgage contract or an insurance contract. You find that the pages with terms of and conditions are really, really many. And it's all in a very, very small font that in the end, you will even sell your body parts without knowing that, you know, you've given your liver or your heart away to be donated. But also one critical thing, that one time when I actually decided to read the terms and conditions, I realized at one point that the financial service provider could wake up and increase rates at leisure without consulting with me, because it's a term and condition. And at that point, because you're looking to get money, you don't care. You just want the loan to be out as quickly as possible, and you just sign. But then later when they come to you, be like, oh, I didn't know. And they'll tell you, you signed the terms and conditions. You agreed to these. So we are coming up with standards around building the literacy of consumers to understand what are the issues, what are you signing up to, what are the issues we are seeing in this space within digital finance? How can you protect yourself from these so that you can still enjoy the benefits that digital finance avails without losing out on, without being exposed to risks or incurring harm, whether it's around over-indebtedness or ruining your reputation or generally being losing trust in the system. And with that, I'll share some of these with Henry. I think he already has them, but we feel it's very critical that digital financial services provider play a key role in ensuring that they do the needful to ensure consumers are protected, but also that the regulators and policymakers and standards body also do their role to ensure that we have the right policies in place and the right frameworks in place for consumers to go to when they have been when they face risks. But most importantly, there is a key role of other unique stakeholders like the media houses, our friends within the media space, whether it's around digital media, whether it's around traditional media, whether it's around written media, and even the traditional ways, whether it's around going to the field and leveraging whatever mechanisms are in place within the community, whether it's around tribal leaders, whether it's around religious leaders, the LCs, the parish chiefs, leveraging all these ways to see how we can use those moments to ensure that consumers are aware about the things that are happening within the digital finance space, but also that they are well protected. So in that regard, I would also say that we've seen some excellent programs within Uganda in particular, where we have a national financial inclusion strategy, but also we do have a particular program on financial literacy organized by the central bank. And these opportunities are great, but I feel like there is a lot more we could do in terms of getting the aspects out of that to incorporate them into everyday lives of consumers, to see how they translate to the ultimate last mile consumer, but also trying to understand what's happening in the space, how is the space evolving, how we evolving with that in terms of the information that we are sharing or the literacy building that we are building with our consumer associations and with the consumers at the grassroots. So in a nutshell, really, I'm really glad that we're having this convening. I see the media playing a really, really key role. You've been very instrumental in ensuring that activities or ideas that are left at the back burner come to the forefront, and that because of that, businesses are actually taking action, policymakers are taking action faster. And for us, this is traction. This is a great way to go, and it's something that we hope to see more of. I have just a couple of minutes. Henry, I'll pause there for now, and I'll share the standards later. But I'll be happy to answer any questions that may be available at the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shira. That was quite a great insight. And as I kept on reading, and thank you for leaving the slide on, because my colleagues in office, wherever that are in the research and information management, must have been, I trust they must have been saying, this is what Uganda is saying, this is what the consumers in Uganda are saying. Because when I look at my physical copy here and what you shared, the consumers, the voices of consumers that we have harvested, nearly it gives a national flair in Kampala, in Mbale, Gulu, Fort Portal, Kasese, Kotido, Kitgum, Soroti, going everywhere. This reflects what you have just shared, what gives the national perspective. A lot of trust is lost in all issues, scams and everything. So thank you very much. And colleagues, before Sheila could leave us, or she can leave us. Anybody who has a quick one that you would love to share? She has only 7 minutes with us. Anybody who would like to ask Sheila a question from a global perspective to a national perspective, because Sheila has also got a financial background. So feel free to ask her any question. Anybody with a question that can help you as the media to deepen? Yes, go ahead, Ambrose. Ambrose Katoto, go ahead, Nwagaba. Unmute and go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Shira, for the wonderful insight about the digital financial services system. Now, my concern and what I want to know, what this system is put in place, especially in Uganda, can help us, is on these financial apps. You find someone who registered me as his or her guarantor without my consent, and from nowhere someone in the box says, you know, WhatsApp that, hello Ambrose, so and so registered you using your national ID as a guarantor, please help us call that person to send us our money, or else you will be the one to pay. When sure, I didn't know about anyone. I didn't know, actually, even that person, I know him as a person, as a friend, but we have never talked about being a guarantor, and I didn't even sign any forms for him to take that money. So I don't know how these things can stop, and what digital finance services and cyber security can help us as guarantors, because nowadays our national IDs are accessible easily, and we are suffering. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Ambrose. I couldn't agree more. I think it happened to me as well, and I think almost half the team here could say that something almost similar has happened. And for what it's worth, also the same things happening in some countries like Mexico, like India, Indonesia, Thailand, Kenya, Nigeria. We've seen literally the same thing happening. For us as consumers international, one of the things we're doing is to see how do we collaborate with some of the high-level enforcement agencies, because this stops just being a matter of finance and it becomes sometimes a criminal activity, because they believe there are some gangs around that are coming up in different countries or different spaces under different names. So we're trying to see how we can collaborate with the International Telecommunications Union and Interpol to see how they can actually flag some of these in the back end to ensure they don't access the systems at all. But also locally, it's something that has been raised, and recently after lots of people came up on Twitter to really complain about the issue, and I think even Henry and his team, these are things they've been talking about for a while. Finally, the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority did say, okay, we know these are happening. We are putting a list of these fraudulent apps, do not use them, but it's a good place to start. Plus also they have now a hotline you can call in terms of reporting. I think Henry, you could share some of these with the team. But when it comes to actual actions, really it's mainly around consumers understanding or being aware that do not use these apps. And then the other is really a key thing that we are always pushing for is to see how do we collaborate with, let's say, Google and Apple to see how to remove these from the app stores, because as long as they can't access you, then you won't have access. But the other, we've also seen that for most of the countries where we are seeing these issues, the countries there, the data protection laws are not enforced, because usually no one should have access or even required to have access to the kind of data that these apps require for. So when whoever is taking the loan is taking the loan, they'll say, can we access your photos? Can we access your contacts? That's a question that shouldn't even be there. And because our data protection enforcement is lacking, it could be better. I won't say it's very bad, but because the enforcement part is lacking, we feel that these are issues that have to keep coming up until the government or the policymakers actually listen. So that's why I did say that I think the media could play a really, really key role in ensuring that these are issues that keep coming up until the government realizes that this is an issue that's not going away, and we have to do more than just saying these are the right apps or the wrong apps, because ultimately this information won't reach anyone. You find someone in the village who doesn't even read the paper, who's not on Twitter, who doesn't even know that Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority exists. In that case, how do they, access that knowledge? If Henry is not out in the field reaching out to everyone individually for those who can't access the channels in place, how will that person ever know? So I feel like the government still has to do a lot in terms of ensuring that data protection laws are enforced, but also ensuring that businesses actually do not include those apps within the systems through which they're getting to the consumers, because in some markets, we actually know that there is something they can do to ensure that's not happening. And that's also in line with some of the questions I'm seeing in the chat around fraud. That's also another issue we've seen from our member in Brazil. They actually did an underground investigative research and realized that actually banks and financial services providers can incorporate certain protection frameworks in their back-end codes to ensure that consumers, the scammers, do not access certain bits of consumer information that gives them access to be defrauded. And the banks, of course, some of them were like, oh, we do, but you have to upgrade or update your software. But they were not telling consumers that. And if the Consumer Association hadn't done their research, they would happily have, closed their hands. So I feel like these are issues that we've been talking about, the issues we advocate for, but usually it's either the Consumer Association or media. Twitter has been a blessing because it reaches scale. So when you send out an issue, you realize that now, instead of just one person pushing or just Henry and his team pushing for these things to change, suddenly all the people interacting with his platform will now come up. Instead of 1 or 5 people, you have like 1,000 people all complaining about the same thing, all tagging the agencies that are concerned. And in the end, they'll wake up, they'll have to do something. So I feel like there's a lot we can play in terms of leveraging various aspects of new media, existing media, to keep talking about the same things. Fraud is not going away. We've seen, unfortunately, that this is one of those things where the trend is worsening. When we were starting out like 3 years ago on the Fair Digital Finance Accelerator, it was about 74% of the members saying this is an issue. As we speak, 95% of the members are now still reporting fraud. So it's even worsening, but nothing is happening. Like usually for most of the policymakers, they like to talk about it, but they're not doing the needful that's required. And sometimes the entry points to fraud are around data protection. If someone can access your data, whether it's your phone number, whether it's your email, whether it's understanding that you have money on your mobile phone, you realize that the moment someone is saying, can I send you money? Another person is trying to divert to see how that money goes elsewhere. Those things can be prevented. But the fact that no one is really enforcing the data protection laws, it means that our data is going to people that shouldn't have access to, and they're misusing it to create risks for us. So those are some of the things we are continually advocating for. For some regions, really, where the data protection laws are good, there's been some kind of change, but still not complete, because the fraudsters are not sleeping. They continue to work. So it's mainly also around understanding what are the new frauds coming up, what are the entry points, how do they get access to us, and then using that evidence to come to policymakers to tell them this is what we are seeing, these are the entry points, this is what we could do, and also trying to see how the media can support on that in terms of augmenting or ensuring that these issues are being broadcast very loudly everywhere until someone takes action. And the other is really also trying to see that consumers are aware that we always have a snapshot or a quick line of awareness of this is happening, whether it's within the paper, the TV, etc. Ensuring that consumers know that these issues are happening. Consumer, be aware, this is a new type of fraud. Please protect yourself. Don't share your PIN. I saw them telcos like Airtel and MTN had done a great job recently, like trying to tell you don't share your PIN. Please note that we only call you via these numbers. So if another number is coming to you telling you this, please don't respond. But we could do more around ensuring that's in a language that people understand. If it's all in English, it means that some consumers will not understand. if it's coming only in particular regions or via particular avenues that other consumers have no access to, it means that we're still excluding certain consumers from accessing that valuable information. So it's mainly trying to see how do the different stakeholders play a key part in ensuring that this information is reaching consumers and that they are protected. But rest assured that risks are not going to go away. They could reduce. If we work together, we could do a whole lot more in ensuring they reduce faster. But as long as we are working in silos, just a few bits here and there, they're not going away. So really, my call is to see with what you have, with the power, the capacity you have, what can you do to help or to augment what's already happening? And who are you working with to ensure that we're working collaboratively to push this forward? Thank you. Back to you, Henry.
Very much, Shira. Thank you very much. That is quite been comprehensive. And like you've put it, data protection is very key. As a country, we have got the laws. Like a colleague was saying, are there laws? Let me tell you, colleagues, the country where we are living in has got very good laws. And like Sheila has said, implementation. We have got standards in the Bureau with regards to financial services. We have got regulations. The Microfinance Regulatory Authority has put up the fake apps and has put up registered apps, registered circles. Bank of Uganda has put on spot the banking institutions that are registered with them and those that have got apps, mobile banking, all internet banking, all issues are all digital, the digital platforms to be in position to safeguard the consumers. And all digital banking or digital finance does not operate in isolation. And that's why you had Sheila mentioning UCC now. UCC offers the foundation for operation because it licenses the telecoms, the internet companies that offer the backbone on which system the digital finance is done. All regulations for consumer protection are there. The Microfinance Regulatory Authority has got consumer protection. Why are things happening? That's why we said that we are going to continuously engage with you in the media. And that's why we are saying today, the role of media in deepening safe financial services. Your role, get to know if you're victims, how do we work together? We will need you to write. Bring these when you are questioning the Minister of Finance, when you're questioning the Governor of Bank of Uganda, when you're questioning the Chief Executive of the Microfinance Regulatory Authority, when you're questioning, I saw the ICT Minister, you know, when you have access more than we do have, where they say it is for only invited. When you flash, you press badge, you're automatically invited. Go in and ask these questions. That's why we are engaging you and we're going to engage you continuously. Once we empower you as ears, mouth, and voice of society, the plight of consumers will be listened to. So colleagues, thank you very much, Sheila. I wouldn't like to hold you any further. I know you're going in for other engagements. It was a great, great honor hosting you and for sharing with the colleagues. And Sheila, we are going to be with the colleagues next Friday and even in the other Friday. And I look forward to being with you on the 30th when we'll be all launching our annual consumer complaints report for 2024. We are covering October 2023 to October 2024. We'll be launching that report. And those that are in the media, we will be sharing with you the report and for you to know. So we'll be bringing also the regulators in every aspect that is in that report to that occasion. We'll be at Protea Hotel on the 30th of October. So Sheila, thank you very much for the support. And
thank you, Henry. Before I rush, before I go out, I've seen Ambrose's comment, and I couldn't agree more. Usually by the time someone uses the app, they're desperate and no one is actually lending them money. But you realize that these people are paying like up to 200% interest. And one of the things we've also been calling out to the financial institutions that can, let's say the banks, the circles, if someone can pay that much interest, how are the banks and financial institutions providing for those people without, let's say, collateral or the right KYC requirements? How are they customizing solutions to ensure that those who cannot access them have access to that? Because we've seen they can pay, but they're exploited till kingdom come. So those are all things we have to call out. What role can the other legit financial institutions actually play to ensure that my need doesn't go away? Because it's very true. As far as consumers need money, they'll go wherever they can get it. But if they can actually pay in such dire situations, it's a call to the financial institution as well to see how do we design unique products for consumers, because someone who took like 50,000 will end up paying like 370,000. So if I can pay 370, if you customize something for me, I could do something. So I like that, Henry, you keep bringing the different groups together, but I couldn't agree more. But yeah, nice seeing all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in other sessions. I have a wonderful rest of the session.
Thank you very much, Shira. It was a great honor and always will be. So, colleagues, now that we have had all that, now it awakens us, and I would ask you, please register, and let's see how best we move forward with all other aspects. That's why we are saying you have a role in deepening safe financial services to consumers. So we would love to go into your role. Once, like they say, you educate a mother, you have educated a nation. Now with us today, when you educate the journalist, you educate the media who reach out to the consumers on a daily basis on your different platforms. Once we have empowered you, we have informed you, we have educated and empowered the nation. So do not relent on your taken on responsibility as a profession. So I would like to thank you all for having joined us. So we have saved 10 minutes on the time that we had allocated for Sheila, myself, and the discussion. So at some 10 other minutes, we have had a brief discourse. I trust you have had a rich exposure, and let's look forward now to the second session where Bernard is going to lead us in what is the role of the media in deepening safe, quality, fair financial services, and also guaranteeing consumer protection. Once you educate somebody, it will be their right to wake up and protect themselves. So the role, you are going to be catalysts in that role, like we are doing, and we look forward to all of the deliberations thereafter. Bernard, I would like to welcome you. You are not new to all the members from West Nile, the other part of northern Uganda, and Gulu, those who are coming in from Lila, Soroti, all the way down to Mbale to form the eastern Uganda, then those who are coming in from Kabale, Kisoro, Mbarara, those who are coming in from Masaka, those who are coming in from Fort Portal, Kabarole, Kasese. We are going to be with you next week in Fort Portal, Kabarole, Kasese. So thank you very much for joining, and this is a great pleasure having you on board. So Bernard, the floor is yours. What is the role of the media in deepening safe financial services? Bernard?
Thank you so much, Henry, for the curtain risers, and I want to appreciate the team for actively participating. in this course. And also Sheila for giving us the opening bit of the presentation and sharing with us a lot of information that is very important for us. So colleagues, my role is very simple. I am going to share with us your role as media, because I understand each one of us already knows their role. And it's always not very nice to think that we're going to speak something new. But I just wanted to share with us a few things. And I saw someone's hand up. I don't know what's meant, but somehow, I don't know that they wanted to first submit before I go into the sharing.
Who had put up your hand, please? Okay.
I am not sure if it was by error, but I'd seen someone putting up their hand. So can I proceed? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. And
okay.
And later, as you finish your presentation, I would we have a colleague who is heading the technical committee in the bureau. He can also share with us. Once again, I would like to welcome Daniel Bakulu Mpaji. You're most welcome. So at the end of Bernard's session, you can say a word or two, but he's going to be our guest next Friday. He will be sharing. I asked him to come in to see the curtain riser and then could be in position to share with us next Friday. So Daniel, you're most welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, Bernard, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Henry. So basically, I'm going to share with us the role of media in all this whole thing. But before I wanted to go there, I wanted to share with us, of course, the truth is that the media really plays a very key role in the digital financing. And what we are basically looking at is how you are transferring monies from one point to another using digital spaces. So we've seen that over the years, people are now doing purchases online. People are doing a lot of transactions. Everybody is buying everything online. Even we are paying border online. So every time you're spending resources or you're paying somebody via a mobile kind of system, then you're a victim to circumstances such as fraud and other things. So the media, it's when we impress the subject and we start telling people about it that actually we can solve many problems. Many people are defrauded because of many reasons, which I'm going to quickly look at before I can dive deeply into the presentation. So the media really is the bridge that we have between the different financial institutions, the technology, and the different platforms, but also the public.
Bernard, have we lost you? Colleagues, keep taking notes until Bernard comes up. Look at yourself. Yeah, welcome back, Bernard.
Yeah, someone disturbed the network and then I lost it.
Okay, can you make it full
but,
screen, presentation screen, for the colleagues to get a better visual? Thank you.
Okay, just a second. I hope that is fine.
It's great.
Okay, beautiful. So I was really saying that the media is then a bridge between the financial institutions, but also it bridges the gap with other technological spaces. You're also playing a role when it comes to community awareness or public awareness. So you find that you're actually the bridge in between all these different platforms. And of course, whenever there is information, you are at the leading role in terms of dissemination, because you have a wider scope of people who listen to you, either on TV, on radio, newspaper, articles, etc. So you find that you're at the center stage of all this whole stuff when it comes to information sharing, education, trust building, awareness creation. So you'll find that without you, the nation may not do so much. So it's very important that we take note of these things. Now, before I wanted to dive into, I wanted to give you a snapshot of the digital financial service complaints that we have. And specifically, we just gathered them last month from 4 districts, one of Chiboga, Tororo, Kituum, and Koboko. I just wanted to give you a little bit of the snapshot of what people are actually complaining about. If you look at this statistic, you realize that everyone is talking about the scams, and those are the percentages there. And pick a loan, for example, and then the banker tells you, okay, sign here, sign there, sign here. And so at the end of you've not even read the details of the contract that you have with the bank. What they do is they give you, okay, sign here, sign there, and everyone is signing. But what actually you're signing for, you are not aware, or you don't even know what you're actually signing for. So at the end of the day, many people also feel they are not comfortable with the banks giving them such kind of stuff. And also, as Henry said, we've seen so many people complain about failed transactions. And why are they failing? Maybe because of the network disruptions. So you can imagine if you have a child in the hospital and they have been discharged, or maybe you're going for a surgical procedure, you have the money with you in cash, rather on mobile money, but you are not able to pay because maybe they are using a system and the network is down. So you can end up having challenges there. So people complained about all these things, failed transactions, delayed transactions, unauthorized transactions. So for example, someone can be having a phone and then you see your money going and you do not know where it has gone, but you wake up in the morning, you had 100,000 on your phone, but then you wake up to find that actually the 100,000 is now 40,000. The 60,000 has been taken off. So the question is now, who is taking the money? All those have been the issues that we needed to share with us. But also people think that the banks are charging high charges and all that. Poor customer services have come in, account hacking. You have an account, but you find that your money has been taken off. A lot of things. Now, when you look at this is one district talking about this. And one of the most pressing things that we got from the consumers was that there are bureaucratic measures when it comes to redress. Whenever you have had a challenge and want to redress with the bank or with a service provider, a lot of things happen. We're going to contact the manager to another manager, a manager to another manager, and you end up having a lot of challenges. Now, if you look at our people down there, you will learn that someone receives a message that, for example, you've received so much money from NSSF, but you find that someone has never even been a client of NSSF. So you keep receiving such a message and someone is excited, and so they tell you, okay, do this and you'll get the money, and at the end of the day, you don't. So this similar experience, we still got it from another setting. When you look at this next graph I'm showing, this is another district, but also when you look at the complaints, they're the same. Scams, failed transactions, and unauthorized transactions, account hacking. So you realize that the two districts now that I've so far shown, they have the same consistent data that is being shared, meaning that they have the same digital financial service problems across. I just decided to pick the third. And when you look at the third, it was even worse. That now, the more central you come, maybe every time you come closer to cities or in urban areas, the more the challenges actually increase. Just look at this third graph. It is still from another district, but in the central region. So looking at maybe the urban setting, you see the fraud issue is still taking about 57% of the complaints around digital finance. But still, you keep seeing things to do with the unauthorized transactions and delayed transactions, failed transactions. So you from these three graphs, maybe I also shared the fourth just to show you that everybody complains about the same. So you find that what you find in one location, you come and find it in another, and you go and find it in another, meaning that the whole country has the same challenges around the digital financial issues. But what are the risks that we found out? One of the risks that we saw, what is leading us into all this mess, is the fact that the fraudsters have also changed their tricks. So when you look at the way they are doing tricks, they no longer do the obvious things. So what they do is to steal your phone. And so when they steal your phone, they are not stealing it to go and use it. Actually, they will steal it, however expensive it is, they will steal it and throw it away. Yeah. So what they do is steal your phone. After stealing your phone, pick off the line. Now that line, enables them to actually get in contact with other people. So imagine that your line has 1,000 people, or let us say 500 people, and this guy has stolen 2 phones. It means that he is able to have access to 1,000 people in one day from those contacts that they are getting from your phone. So what is clear now is that the consumers do not know what happens when they steal your phone. What am I supposed to do? So in situations where a phone is stolen, to save yourself and to save others, it's imperative that you quickly go and block the line so that the person is not able to use it. But the consumers, we don't know that. So they steal your line, and it takes 1 week or 2 weeks when someone is actually using it to fraudster other people. The second risk that we found was the issue of sharing pins. More than 85% of the people that we are dealing with, actually our communities, are being frauded by actually their relatives or their neighbors or the people they stay with. So imagine an old woman in the village gives a phone to a son, but please go to the trading center and withdraw for me my money, my son in Kampala send. So this young boy knows already the password of the grandmother or the password of the father. So he goes to the mobile money, withdraws the money, brings the money, but he has mastered the mobile pin. So every time the boy needs money, just goes to the mobile money, and then they are able to transact because the pin is with them. So where is the problem? Every time a consumer gives out their pin, let it be a pin of your phone or a pin of your bank, whatever it is, for someone to support you, then that pin must be changed immediately after the transaction, so that that pin is not used again. So you have to ensure that this pin can be changed anytime after someone has helped you to pick the money. Because now, recently, we had a case when we were in these communities where somebody, a gentleman, borrowed money, 1 million shillings, to pay school fees of his son. Now, he put the money on the phone to send to school. They said, okay, I'll send it tomorrow. But the wife came in the night because she knew the PIN and sent the money to her mother. And so when the guy came to complain to MTN, they said, no, but let us check out the number that sent out. Only to realize that the money was sent to the in-laws number. So who did that? The wife. Why? She knows the PIN. So there are issues around the PIN. That's why people are being defrauded. But the information about when to change the PIN and how to change the PIN is still a challenge that media can also help in sharing this kind of information for people to prevent themselves from some of these things. The other risk we found was issues of course, the consumers not being aware that when this happens, we are supposed to do this. When this one happens, we are supposed to do that. So people are not aware, but who is supposed to make them aware anyway? It could be the media that would be a big service provider in that case. And then the other risk was about stealing phones, that people steal phones just to use them for frauding. I've already mentioned that. But also, most of our consumers are not vigilant. If someone has not participated in a particular activity, let us say there has been a promotion, but you have not participated in it, and then someone calls you, says you have won this much money from the promotion X, and you have never even heard about the promotion. So you find that most of consumers, they want to get the money, they are not vigilant, but they have not worked for it. So if you've not been part of these transactions, why then do you think that the money will just come? Unfortunately, when they tell you you've won a grant something, then they tell you, please first send 200,000, but you're winning 2 million, but you have to send 200. So you're asking yourself now, why do I send 200 when you are having my 2 million? So our consumers are not vigilant, and so we are being taken for granted by the fraudsters because of our ignorance, because of not knowing, and because those guys are a little bit smarter than we are. So that are actually leading to the challenges that are associated with fraud, but also digital financial challenges. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, after having a mention of all that, the media can help us in raising awareness, creating awareness about all these things, how to avoid fraud, how to avoid scams, how to ensure that our pins are protected, how to ensure that we don't carry bulky money with us, how to ensure all those things. We need to be aware. And the media can do this very well when you're having your sessions on radio, on TV, on Twitter, everywhere. We can be able to support the communities to change this. But also, when innovations come, you guys have to be at the forefront of things. You understand the things, and so you can explain the different innovations to a broader audience, including, of course, the business entities. That you look here, this cannot work here, this can work there. It's you guys who have the platform to communicate that, as long as you have proper information. So issues to do with creating awareness on mobile apps that exist. So, for example, the digital team has sent up a list of the Bafere platforms. But the question is, did we reach out to the consumers with this list that, please, when you have this app, this one is not functional, this is a fake one, this is... I think it is very imperative that we can create time and we start teaching our communities about these mobile payments, the digital wallets, the cryptocurrencies, the peer-to-peer lending, the crowdfunding, all those things, so that people can understand them and so they don't make mistakes. But also the media can educate the public on both the advantages, but also the potential risks of digital finance, just like I've given you some of those. Then also you promote financial inclusion. There are people who are still carrying bulky, huge monies with them because they don't have the process of how they can keep the money. So it's also imperative on the media team to promote this financial inclusion through amplifying voices on digital finance, improving financial inclusion through spreading awareness, knowledge, mobile banking, microfinance apps, and etc. You can always support in that. But also the media can help in the underserved populations, first of all, to gain access to financial services. This could be through advertisement. Where is the circle that is authentic? Where is this that is, that can be part of your work in this fight against fraud and etc. But also you can showcase stories. You guys would do investigative journalism and all that. You can be able to take stories around that and showcase some of the success stories when it comes to the digital finance, which areas are better than the others. But also you can drive campaigns on financial literacy, teaching people how money works. The other would be that media is very key in building trust and credibility because you have the information. So people believe what you say. I've always said this, the media is trusted. When you write something and when you read news on something, people trust it. So people... very good that you start doing some bit of reporting, credible reporting on different platforms, report about the fake platforms, about the right platforms, and then you can be able to facilitate the building of trust of consumers. But also on your shows, you can always host these guys who are in the digital financing, facilitating transparency and accountability. Whenever people have issues, they can have a platform of complaining to them directly. Just imagine if someone had a fraud issue in the bank. What is wrong with hosting the bank manager to come and explain some of the things on your shows? That in that way, you can build trust of the members of the communities. And then also you can validate third parties. If at all there is a third party, you can always host reviewers or experts, and then they can give their perspective so that they support people to run out of this. Then also the media can drive innovation and competition. Whenever things are not right, usually we leverage on the media. Whenever you're communicating or you're driving particular innovations in the digital space, but also you can lead the competition campaign, looking at the fraudsters versus the non-fraud, where there are better services, where they are not. So you can always, in your discourse, some of those things can come out. When you're highlighting the emerging trends around keeping the public business informed and all that about the AI, artificial intelligence, and any other innovations that are at par, it would be good that you can drive those innovations through your promotions, etc. But also you can influence policy through your reporting, through your journalism work, through your advocacy. You can be able to influence policies around some of these things. You can have actually regulatory updates on your shows. You can do something to do with data privacy and data security, and all of these can actually, at the end of it all, drive the influencing of the policy and also driving regulatory discussions. So this is your part as well. When you package it well, you can be able to support us in policy and regulatory framework discussions. And then, of course, we talk about consumer protection and fraud prevention. You can also give us a lot of mileage there. Of course, you play a big role in protecting consumers by exposing fraud, by exposing scams, by offering tips on safer practices. All of those can be important for protecting consumers against fraud and also against scammers, also against other things that can be harmful to the consumers. So all that can be tackled through your radio talk shows, through hosting experts, through the expert interviews, through the, all those things you do. This can help consumers to be protected, but also to learn how best they can protect themselves. And then you have facilitating stakeholder engagements. You can always facilitate different stakeholder engagements from the media perspective, looking at the different angles of how people are actually suffering locally with digital financial services. So the media, you can really provide a platform where financial institutions or regulators or fintech companies, but also the public can actually engage in dialogue about the digital finance ecosystems. You can always bring these guys together and you have a hot debate. The way I've always had on your radios, how you have hot debates with politicians, you can have similar debates with regulators, similar debates with their fintech companies, with telecoms, with, just to make sure that really the public is understanding the things, but also they receive answers directly from these guys. You can also host interviews with key stakeholders. I've mentioned that. You can organize discussions and forums, etc. Through your media platforms. Now, also as we conclude this, you have a role of boosting adoption of digital financial solutions. Some solutions have come on board that are actually helpful. Visa cards, now we have a lot of mobile monies, we have many e-payments for taxis, for boda, for whatever. When you see and you've got an authentic information and you're able to test it, then you could boost actual adoption. Why would someone carry 10 million in his house, in his grass thatched house, and yet they can actually keep it in the bank and they can transact it whenever they want it? Actually, when they're at home, when they're sleeping, they can do a transaction. So, but of course, how do they make those transactions successful? So adopting some of these solutions can come with the media engagements. When media starts engaging consumers to boost the adoption of digital financial solutions, it would be something very nice that you could think about. Of course, you should be able to highlight the convenience that comes with digital financing, issues to do with media stories that can focus on how digital finance simplifies transactions, faster payments. You want to go to the airport, you don't need to come to Kampala, just to pay from there and you come, something like that. But also normalizing the digital finance usage so that people are able also to grow with the world, but being very careful to avoid fraud. And then you can also encourage digital transformation in traditional finances, where some people have remained traditional. You can, if you look at the circles and the VSLs that are in your communities, you could build a case and start encouraging those people to also take up transactions online, so that people are actually safely keeping their resources, but of course not forgetting how they can prevent themselves from scammers and fraud and all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know Henry is about to tell me that the time is done. I have only 2 minutes left, but really, in conclusion, you're a very powerful force as a media in shaping the public perception around digital finance, but also in building trust of the consumers around digital finance. You have a very big force when it comes to educating the consumers, but also driving the adoption of the digital financial solutions. So with those so many remarks, I want to appreciate you for the time, and let us together influence policy debates, protect our consumers from fraud, encourage financial institutions and inclusion, but also let us cover these things, have a coverage of these things within our media spaces, reach out to the relevant stakeholders, and then we support our consumers and protect them. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've picked a thing or two. Thank you. Thank you, Henry. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bernard. Those of you who know very well that you are a nutritionist and you are a great campaigner with regards to food safety, now they would say, when did he become a financial guru? Or how did he? Yeah, but I just love that you have shared with us, always an influencer, an educator, a mobilizer, a driver, and an influencer of issues, advocacy, requires a good communicator. So thank you very much for communicating to colleagues. And colleagues, when you add the graph Sheila put, the statistics, and what Bernard put, you'll find that what we are discussing today, and we want to urge you'll find that, and also it was in the concept, that whatever is happening globally, given the complaints that we are harvesting, reading the different data from fintech researchers, what we are experiencing in Uganda is not very much different from the global challenges. So colleagues, that said, it is point in time that we have got the next 30 minutes. I would like to have short, sharp sharings and commitments on how best we need to go. Yeah, we are going to share the slides like you have asked for them. We are going to share them with you. I trust you got the one of last week and the week before. Oh, no, this week and the one of the week before. So all these slides are going to be shared with you. And at this point in time, before I open up the floor, do we have Eva? Is Eva with us? I just listened in to your report after Wednesday's on the Independence Day webinar. Eva, Bernard shared the clip and you reported, you did a SPAB reporting. But this leads me to a new other aspect. It's not new, but it is part of the Media League. We are going to reach a time sometime in November. All of you who use information shared here to do reportings, let them be electronic, audio, online postings, print media. We are going to ask you to start putting them in a folder and share them with us. We are going to have individual kind of awards or competition. Then we'll have even regional. Now that you are in regions, we would say Region West Nile is the winner for having published, sensitized consumers on issues we handle in the Media League. So then the runners up and so forth and so forth. So I would encourage you to collect, file, report, collect, store. There's going to reach a time when we are going to ask you to submit your recordings, your reportings, your articles, your audios, let's say even your videos. So we are continuously partnering with different entities whom we would like to launch this competition amongst yourself. Who is going to be the media awareness or the consumer awareness champion? So please continue doing that. I've already listened to one audio that of the reporting that happened on Wednesday. So thank you very much, colleagues. And I would like to open up now the floor for you to share the issues that you have at heart. Is it an experience? Have you been a victim? I would say I've been a victim. I wouldn't like to say that I'm not a victim. I've been a victim. There's one time I had just finished sharing the tips at a consumer town hall. And before even I could leave the town hall, the Mufere had started calling, saying that I'm calling from UCC, but I said I'm here with UCC colleagues. We have been talking about your activities. So now why are you calling me to Kumfera? So he just abused me and switched off. I've lost money for when I was putting in my PIN. Somebody must have listened in and picked up. So colleagues, the floor is open now for you to start sharing. Sunday Rogers, take on car number 1. The floor is yours. Be short, precise, to the point. Rogers? Rogers, please go ahead.
Henry?
Yes, please go ahead, Rogers.
Thank you, Henry and Bernard. I like what Bernard has been sharing. He mainly points at the fact that the media, we really have a big role to play. But partly, I believe it is two-way traffic. How about the developers of these digital finance institutions? How about if they approached our media houses and bought airtime and space for them to spread out this good information? How about if they hired our expertise, the expertise of the media, the writers, the photographers, the radio presenters? How about if they hired their expertise to be able to put it to good use, to put across this message? Henry, you will agree with me that what is happening now is that the bad guys, they've taken advantage of the media. While the good guys with all this good information, they are very busy, quiet, and maybe doing some cost cutting on the budget. And who is the end loser? It is the consumer. Thank you.
Yeah, Sunday, you're right in what you're saying, but the expertise can only be known if you start speaking out. If Rogers is hard speaking out on these issues, then those who are seeking expertise will reach out. I'll give you 2, 3. Let me just give you one example. Sylvia Juko, I think, either started in New Vision and went to Monitor or Monitor in business. She started writing about these issues. Where did she end up? In Bank of Uganda, because she had shown her interest, her views, her writing on these issues. That is when she was seen and taken on board to continuously write technical issues in simple language. So this is where from that experience, that's why we said we need to engage the media. When you start speaking about, writing about these issues, you'll be noticed. You need to stand out in the crowd. Inform your society through word of mouth. Your society would say, we have got that media personnel who speaks out on issues that affect us. You never know. It might be the grandmother of the deputy governor who says there is somebody who talks about the issues you're working on, and then the deputy governor will call your attention. It might be the mother, the sister, the brother, the son of the regulator. So with us, we have not waited for you to be that. We want you to be that. That's why we are sharing with you. Please, you have got the greatest potential. Do investigative journalism. Put it out there. That's what Sylvia Juko used to do. And she ended up going into the central bank to simplify issues, to continuously write on financial literacy. You can be that. So let's not wait for these authorities. Let's show that we can do the work, and then we can open up the space for them. That is how I can respond to you, Sandy. Those are good suggestions. These are suggestions that have come in from the first media lead we had. Come to our bosses, come to our bosses. But now we are planning to arrange a session with the proprietors of the radios, telling them that you need the consumers to be healthy. When they see the advertisements that are genuine, then they will buy from genuine businesses, then businesses will come and advertise with you. We need healthy consumers. We need you to be healthy Sunday. The money that they defraud from you, you need to use it to buy or to save. So this is why we are urging you to take on your role as the ears, the mouth, and the voice of society. Thank you. David, please go ahead.
Well, thank you, Henry. Thank you. In the first place, I want to put this straight to my colleagues who are attending this. You know, in 2012, I got a message on my Airtel that I've received 800,000. And immediately the person called me that, hey, sorry, I've sent money wrongly to your number. Can you please send it back? And fortunately, that time I was for a meeting. I did not go to send it back. And after some time, I checked my account, the money was not there. So that was a sign of fraud. You know, the media, we have a lot to do at this time. Yeah. We can save the world. Let's talk about the VSLAs. These people are saving in their boxes. Now, what if someone comes and steals this box? Where will they be? About millions of money will go off because they don't have that knowledge of where to keep their money. What they know is just to keep it in the box. So I think it is the work of the media to speak it out, to write it out. And we can as well, for those of us who have YouTube channels, you can do some of those documentaries and people watch, not only in your location, but very far, people watch. And as you said, someone will come and say, hey, this person is doing great job. You can get this job. I'm giving you this work, go and do it. Then at the end, you'll be teaching, you'll be educating masses over masses. And then in 2021, I've become a victim like you. Someone, I was operating my brother's mobile money. And this person called me that, hey, I'm calling from MTN. You are sending direct deposit. We are going to block your line. What, for you to not to be blocked, you need to press this button. And unfortunately, I don't know what was on my mind. I started pressing 3 million gone, 4 million gone. I just sent that money like that. These are the hackers. I don't know. It just went like that. I became sick. That money could not be returned back. And as Bernard has said, and after some time, someone came to the mobile money. I was not the one. We hired someone. This person said, you withdraw for me this month. This person withdraw the money. And afterward, I don't know if the person used charm on this lady. They went with this person and money gone. See, these are the things that we as the journalists, we need to do. We need to report on these things. And because someone deep down in the village, in the urban, not urban setting, but rural settings, they don't know about these things. Things are happening. Their monies are going. And we, the journalists, are sitting on it. We are not reporting. We are only focusing on reporting on politics, which will not help. So I think it is right time that we need to rise up and start reporting on these issues. And in the next 5 to 10 years to come, we shall make a very big change in the media fraternity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, David. That is quite impressive. Let's continue. Again? Okay. Brenda, please take the floor. Brenda? Brenda, take the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you, Mr. Shimera. I want to share my experience about the same thing that happened to you. Quite often I receive these links via social media maybe, and they try to entice you to maybe some product, maybe airtime, maybe money, and they tell you to click the link. But because our eyes have been opened once or twice, I don't always click those links. And then also I've been abused by several fraudsters who call and they say they are going to block my number and or some other excuse, and then they abuse me, those big words. I always respond and say thank you. And then about my experience with cryptocurrency and blockchain, I was introduced to it by, we need money. We need to make money in any way possible, so long as you're not stealing. Now, this is a friend, somebody I've known for quite some time. They are doing cryptocurrency. They are doing well financially. You can see the life they live, and they are a friend. So they introduced me to some cryptocurrency kind of. They are different. And we were supposed to be in a group. We formed a group, and we were doing it as a group. So we each brought some amount of money, and we were supposed to invest it and wait for some amount of time, like 5 years, and then we shall get the benefits and the profits and those interests. But then we waited. We were very patient, some of us. We said, no, we are not comfortable. This money might get lost there. So we agreed we divide our money, and they put each on their account because they said we can't withdraw it until that period of time. But what we can do, we can put it each on your account. We could see the money. It was there. But then we waited. After some time, I checked, and the money was not there. And like after a year, and we had been given codes, we had been passwords, and they said it's only us who know that, and nobody can get our money. But the money was gone. My humble savings, I even had to my local chibina and get money. I borrowed. I said, let me invest. I'm going to be speaking English in Chinese once I get my interest. So that's an experience there with cryptocurrency. My suggestion will be that government recently, a year or two, I don't know whether it's a year or two back, they introduced those taxes on our mobile money, taxes on our savings in the banks, and they should also, like you said, that communicators should do well. When you're doing good communication, you should be able to do good advocacy. So I don't know whether I've mixed it up or interchanged it, but it's about that. I'm thinking, let's also push. If they are taxing our money in the banks, let them do more to protect our money on mobile money and also in the banks. Because sometime back, I attended a Bank of Uganda training, and they specifically and assured us that for them, they don't regulate cryptocurrency, blockchain. So if you go there and they cheat you, that's your business. My submission.
Thank you very much, Brenda. So that is the awareness that that is needed. So if you're a victim, and I see that you need also to share experiences and tell wherever you can that once you go into blockchain and go into cryptocurrency, you have no safeguards. This is where we need to, and I've liked the way the messaging you've done, which is also like a recommendation. If you are taxing us, then you better protect our money, because the taxes are there to guarantee us, or the taxes will imply you're guaranteeing us protection. So Daniel, and then thereafter Isaac. Daniel?
Thank you, Henry. And members, my name is Daniel Bakulumpaji, and I work with the Uganda Bureau of Standards. I am the secretary to the technical committee that handles finance and insurance standards. However, I'm happy to be part of this webinar because there is a lot that we have on shelf as the UNBS, but out there, the public seems not to be aware, and just like the regulators. In future, at a later date, that will be around, I think next week, Friday, we shall have a detailed discussion around the work that we do as the UNBS, and how can you as the media help us reach the public, because there is so much that we can help in order to address these challenges. And just a brief, you should know that Uganda does not exist in isolation. We are all part of the World Trade Organization. And with that, the problems that we are facing are also faced elsewhere. And you find that those challenges that are faced elsewhere, we as a country that is actually growing, we need to work with them. We need to borrow what we call best practice, because with them, they have the experience, and we are just learning. So at times, it's always better that we pick up the international best practice and bring it here. And on that, on that date, that is Friday, around 17th, right? 17th. I'll be happy to be a part of the meeting, of the webinar, so that we discuss further on how to actually address some of the challenges. But we are happy with Consent Uganda and the consumer body, that international body, for actually organizing such a platform. We have always looked for a way to reach you people, because it's like we are existing in a vacuum. We are this side and you're that side, and the consumer is on the other side. So I'm really happy. Thank you, Henry, and thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. It was a great honor, and thank you for the insights. We look forward to the sharing next Friday. So, okay, Isaac, please take the floor. Isaac?
Henry, as Isaac comes, please, members, I am begging you to register, please do, so that we don't miss anybody receiving their resources. I beg of you, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, Isaac, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is Isaac, Big FM Radio Mbale. I've been sharing a screenshot in the interaction. This afternoon, somebody shared with me a message telling me that I'm the general manager of Xi'an. Congratulations, you were selected as an online part-time employee. So ever since, I've never applied the online part-timing job. But actually, following the narrative or the submission
of the previous facility. Actually, we need to be so crucial. Me is those issues of fraud and of course scammers. Mostly they used it to happen during COVID time when we had just entered COVID. Very many people could call. I've send a message, check on your phone. There's a message of 1 million, but when you check in the normal account, you find it 0. So very, very true. We need to be a bit vigilant that whoever calls you, you have to make a follow-up. Don't hurry. And of course, take a step. First, you think twice. But if you say somebody has just called you and you automatically send the money, you will eventually be a victim.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Godfrey?
Right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Godfrey, please go ahead.
Hi. Hello?
Yes, please. Godfrey, please go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, it's not sharing an experience, but I just want to share an insight of a story I'm interacting with right now.
Yes, please.
Different channels in which they are using to defraud. There are groups like, I don't know if you guys have seen these guys that are kind of like doing digital marketing, like AIM Global, BF Suma. These guys are really cheating Uganda. I'm interacting with that story, but you can't imagine how big this issue is. So they will lie, go to villages, get ignorant people, tell them you're going to make money, bring them in Kampala, sit them into some halls around Kampala streets and tell them this is how you're going to access the money. When they sell their little things they have, at the end of the day, they have no access to the money and they lose everything. And these people create a bit of cosmetic lies, like you're going to win these big cars, these Porsche cars, you're going to get trips to the US, you're going to, so it's a huge problem, and the more noise we make, the better. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. That is quite good. Yeah, it is inspiring. Let's speak about these experiences. You know, most of the times we might take it lukewarmly, but you will find that it ends up in your house. And by the time you say, I knew it, I always tell stories about, I know you might have it in your different, let's say, tribes. In Uganda, it is called an old lady or somebody was going down to the well and was pierced by a thorn that is a kind of like a dynamite. And that she said, no, it will not pierce me alone. She put it back and went down to the well. As she came back with the pot on her head, she forgot that she had put the thorn along the pathway, and it pierced her again, this time so severely that she had to drop the pot and lost the pot and also the water, but also in pain. So this goes back to us, the media. As we get to know this and we fall victim, how can we safeguard the public? That is the request we are making. Daniel Baingana, you had your hand earlier. Do you have anything to share? Baingana? Daniel? Okay. I see Chintu, your mic is open. Do you want to share? Okay. So colleagues, I'm going to invite Bernard as we wrap up. These are the insights. This is the curtain riser that we are having with regards the media deepening quality, safe and fair financial services, in particular the digital finance to consumers. We are going to learn about standards that are there to safeguard that. We are going to learn about the regulations. Like I said earlier, we have got enough laws in this country that can safeguard us consumers, make businesses better. but what is going wrong? This is a key question. I would love you to go on asking the different regulators, Bank of Uganda, going into the Insurance Regulatory Authority, going into the Microfinance Regulatory Authority, going into the associations of microfinance, going into the Bankers Association. Why is fraud, the white collar fraud in the financial sector increasing and consumers are crying? We are all crying, but because we need the service, we go in for the service, but we get victims, we lose trust. So how best can we join hands to raise that awareness? So this is why we are bringing you in the Media League. We'll be with you on Friday next week, still discussing. So Bernard, may you please come in and do a wrap up?
Yeah, thank you, Henry, and colleagues. I appreciate all your comments. I think there were no questions that have not been answered. I think most of them were comments and sharing experiences. I'm very grateful that you're able to turn up for this meeting. And I hope that we are making a step to ensuring that we share as much as we can from the research perspective, but also giving you the ideas out there, but also trying to make sure that we leverage on your expertise and your platforms to reach out to the masses. We want to appreciate you so much for always sacrificing your time to join us in this campaign and in these different sessions, and we want to wish you the best of luck. I'll be very grateful to award many of you for the good work you'll be doing. Please, whenever you have an article, whenever you have a communication, news relating to the topics of that we share with you, it would be very nice that you keep them in a folder at a particular time, preferably before the end of the year. We have some awards of the outstanding media teams that are sharing information on food safety, on food waste, on food loss, on nutrition, on consumer issues, on data. So we'll win in this. We have different awards, and the awards are basically going to those who are reporting, documenting, and making investigative kind of stories and whatever, and we shall be able to award them. So please always make sure that whenever you have stories run, let us have a copy of them or share with us so that we can be able to start seeing who are those that can actually benefit from the awards. And lastly, from me, I will catch up with you once again on Friday as we discuss new things. But for the Kasese team and Fort Portal team, I am sure that we shall meet during the course of next week as we celebrate the World Food Day. So I know that I'll be passing by, so I can be able to grab some of you and maybe you buy for me some bit of chai. I don't know, but yeah, we shall be able to interact more and more. And lastly, people, you'll get the presentation from Asha. Asha will, to avoid sending so many things, Asha will be able to share with you all the presentations. I hope that you got the one of Wednesday. We shared it, and then for today, we shall also be able to share immediately after here. Asha should be able to share with you. There are colleagues in the chat who have been saying that they didn't receive their facilitation. It means that we didn't register. When I checked the lists, remember this is online. So when you put in your details on the link that we've been sharing there, we immediately get it and see it here. So when you don't put, we don't see. So it means that we cannot convince the finance person that you are there. So please endeavor to register. Make sure you register, please. We are going to add more 5 minutes for members who have not registered to be able to register so that the finance person uses that list and share with you the data facilitation. Please register. Maybe we can post the link one more time for those who have not registered so that we are sure that each one of you receives their little resources for data. Otherwise, thank you so much, Henry, for sharing with us and for hosting us. And the link has been shared right now. For those who have not yet, please, I beg you, register so that we don't cheat you and you complain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bernard. And to all of you, you made us hit the mark of 60, irrespective of our now being 48. But we would like to thank you very, very much. It's a great honor. We are building a relationship, and let's build it. What you can get from your societies, report it. What you can get from the global society, the digital society, report it. These baby steps we are making in making sure that you play your role of empowering consumers, it has got all attendant benefits that come back to you, because you'll be in a society which you encourage to speak out, and they will be in position even to give you more stories to report on. The society we live in gives us the social license to operate. So let's use that social license to operate. We gain their trust. I would like to thank all of you who have put in the chat. I always enjoy after downloading the chat and read some of your views, which are very solid and concrete. So to go forward, we are going to continuously be reaching out to you. We are going to make sure that your coordinators reach within you to empower you, to build your capacity, and also you build our capacity. Your thoughts build our capacity and enable us to make the media league better. And we are going to make sure we make it better. We bring in, currently we are holding it as consent, but we would love to have more colleagues coming in to share with you and use it as a platform. Where we are not in position to meet physically, let's continuously meet on the digital world. But one day, I know we might be meeting and we put the names to the face and the messages to the face. And I would like to thank you very much. So let's continuously build and empower consumers who we all are, and make sure that we live in a safe environment. And if it is not safe, it is not yours. So make sure that you are critically aware and you also speak out and up when things are not good. So thank you very much, all of you. I wish you a superb weekend, and my colleagues will start taking care of you right after the session. Please do register. We are keeping the link open all up to around about 1:15. So those of you who have not registered, please do register. Those of you who have registered, please feel free. You can now leave and go and report, or even build good stories about the issues that we have gone through. So thank you very much, and a superb weekend.
Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, see you. Please register. I can see people still writing to me inbox that they didn't receive resources of last time, meaning that your name wasn't on the list. Please register, I beg of you, please. Yes, please register so that you can...
Mr. Bambale, just send the link again.
Hey.
So the link is going to be, it is there.
It is there. There it is, please.
If you go in the chat, you'll find the link, register. So if you do not receive any resource, get to know that you didn't register. Be an informed consumer, be an empowered consumer. You are entitled to that Kalito data. Take it, it is yours. So register to access it. Thank you very much, colleagues. Superb weekend.
My colleague is sharing it, please. Just go to the chat and pick it. Pauline is sharing it every 1 minute. Someone is asking, when is our next meeting? Our next meeting is on Friday, same time. All right.
So we have 8 minutes to close. Those who have not registered, please do register in those 8 minutes. Alan, thank you very much for that question. We will make sure that we put it in and we share it with the Deposit Protection Fund. Yeah, thank you. Why the international deposits? Yeah. So I think what we will do, that shows that we can request the Deposit Protection Fund to come in and share with us. Yeah, that is a good question. We'll be putting it to them. Thank you very much. Now the chat messaging or the messages in the chat are really rich. This is great. Thank you very much, colleagues. This is superb. Doreen, yeah, this is good. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a good insight. Thank you, Swipe Busiku. It is great. Thank you, colleagues. These are very good insights. Yeah, with this development, we do it for over a year, we'll have built our capacities. Thank you. Okay, we have 5 minutes to go.
Henry.
Yes, please. Bernard.
There's another interesting thing there.
Yeah.
Someone says that could we come up with a way to let people know that they can report cases of fraud to organizations like Consent or others? I think that is it's about the consumer complaints harvesting. I think we can address that next week when everybody's around, so that they can be able to launch in their complaints. I think that is what they are trying to. Someone is trying to propose, and then someone is asking for the presentation for the last session. I think Asha will be able to share all of them at the same time. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Bernard, for the insights. Yeah, great colleagues. Okay, we are left with 2 minutes to wrap up. Colleagues. Okay, so thank you very much, colleagues. It was a great honor having you. So the best weekend. Okay, colleagues, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Amon. It was great.
Right, thank you, Kechara. Thank you so much, colleagues. The control room, thank you guys for making sure that we're on air. Each one of you. Lucia, thank you for maintaining.
Okay, bye-bye. Superb weekend, colleagues.
Thank you, team.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Cheers.